Gormagad Cahirlock and Gormagad Ara Anseo Inyuf. I have a very simple question I would like a really simple answer to, and that is, when is the state going to open the 1916 Commemorative Centre at 14 to 17 Moore Street? 14 to 17 Moore Street was the last headquarters of the 1916 leaders, Pearse and Connolly and others. Over 100 years ago, we celebrated the centenary in 2016. Since I was first elected in 2004 to City Council, I've worked with relatives of 1916, with the street traders, with City Council, with members of the Oireachtas, from all parties and none. And there is a really strong proposal there to develop a state-run, heritage-focused 1916 Commemorative Centre. As a member of the Ministerial Advisory Committee, I was very proud to work with others, and we produced a report, and that report was adopted by government, and we have been promised now repeatedly a start date. In fact, this is the fourth time that I've raised the issue as a commencement matter in the last year or so. I've raised it at joint Oireachtas committee meetings. I've raised it within my own party. So you can appreciate, I'm sure, Minister, there's a level of disappointment and frustration. We had a great moment when government assigned €12 million as part of the urban regeneration funding, and endorsed and adopted the Ministerial Advisory Report. Part of that report, there was a number of recommendations in it, all of them practical, all of them pragmatic, all of them that would lead us directly to the state provision of a commemorative centre. The City Council had an action. When I was on the City Council myself, I chaired the expert group that brought forward a proposal to ensure a sustainable model for street trading. I'm glad to say City Council has made good progress on that, and I would invite everybody and anybody to go and visit the street market in Moore Street, particularly over the next number of weekends when the market will operate not just on the 6 days as it traditionally did, but on 7 days, and it'll be operating on a Sunday. But to get to the crux of this commencement matter, we still have this blank, this scene of inactivity and neglect at 14 to 17 Moore Street. The OPW have promised that a design team will commence work, but it is many months now that we've been listening to the promise. In fact, the Minister himself did come to the House for the last commencement matter I had on this subject. He did, at that point in July, promise that works would commence within weeks. He promised to come down to Moore Street with me and others to actually inspect the site and to discuss the plans that we have for the site. It is with real regret that I had to put down this commencement matter because it was my hope, and the hope of many others, that the works would have commenced and that there would be no need for us to be talking about it in here anymore, but actually being able to witness the works as they proceed on Moore Street. So, Minister, I appreciate it's not your portfolio. I appreciate this isn't your department. I appreciate you being here. I'm really hoping that the department and the Minister and the Department of the Office of Public Works have sent you with a positive response, and you will be able to advise the House on a firm date for the commencement of the works, so that then we can also anticipate a date for an opening of a state-run 1916 Commemorative Centre at 14 to 17 Moore Street. Gormagad.
I want to thank the Senator for raising this matter this morning, and I'm taking this on behalf of Minister Deputy Patrick O'Donovan, who unfortunately cannot be here and has asked me to send his apologies, and I will of course convey the Senator's comments to the Minister. I am aware that you have raised this issue consistently, and you have huge interest in and a commitment to this issue, and you've raised a number of times, as you said, previously in the Chamber, most recently in July of this year. And the future of historic buildings at 14 to 17 Moore Street has been at the centre of a vigorous debate for several years, and a considerable amount of effort has been expended both inside and outside of government to try and reach a consensus on how to proceed. And following the publication of the Moore Street Advisory Group's third and final Securing History report in May 2021, the path ahead was much clearer. And following extensive consultation, the government earlier this year adopted a key decision to instruct the OPW to proceed with a project to conserve the houses and create a 1916 commemorative centre, allowing people to visit the site and participate in this hugely important part of our country's history. And as the Minister has indicated previously in this chamber, while OPW has been creating the site since 2019, their focus up to this point has been on keeping the monument safe and secure until a decision could be made as to its future. And following the government decision early this year, the OPW has moved forward substantively on implementing its mandate and has been working on developing a project to meet the vision outlined in the advisory group report. And as the Minister informed the Shannon in July, the OPW has been focused first and foremost on resourcing the project properly with a professional design team led by an in-house expert technical team from the OPW, supplemented through the appointment of additional external technical services teams including project managers, architects, engineers and cost specialists who will help manage the works on the ground and fully deliver the project. When the Minister addressed the matter here in July, the hope had been that the OPW would be in a position to conclude the relevant formalities with these professionals within a relatively short space of time, enabling them to begin substantively on the key design preparation work that needs to be done before contractors can be engaged and work start on the site. And while progress has been made, the schedule has unfortunately proven too optimistic and most of the formal appointments have not yet been concluded. The delay in formal appointments for a technical team has occurred due to the complexity of ensuring that various parties to the multiple individual contracts concerned between the OPW on one side and 7 separate companies on the other will be completely clear as to their roles and responsibilities in the process. And as a result, the process has taken longer to conclude than previously anticipated. But I can inform you, Senator, progress has been made in regard to the design team, and individual technical team members have been identified and a scope of service agreed, and terms of service including commercial aspects have been set out. And looking forward at this stage, the OPW considers these matters to be significantly advanced and are moving towards a formal appointment of the individual team members as soon as possible. However, unfortunately, OPW is not in a position at this stage to commit to a specific date, but the matter is being treated as a priority. I will also take the opportunity to address another matter that I trust we have interest to you, Senator, and this relates to the appointment of a professional design consultant for the interpretation and exhibition element of the project. And this is a significant element of the project and represents a critical part of the design team. And the commitment is being tendered publicly along creative teams and companies that specialise in this kind of work to submit proposals for consideration by a joint assessment panel comprised of key members of the project steering group. A tender investigation of this work has been created and will be a short-term priority for the OPW, in parallel with appointing other members to the technical team to advertise for a speciality service and make an appointment as soon as feasible. Minister O'Donovan has informed me of his intention to visit Moore Street National Monument and be ensuring every effort continues to be made on advancing works.
I suppose I want to acknowledge that the progress that has been made. I don't want to be entirely dismissive. There are significant appointments in terms of the professionals that are being referred to. A team of 7, was it 7 consultants or 7 professional services to be negotiated with and to be engaged in this project. It is really important that we get the best, the most expert professionals involved in creating this 1916 Commemorative Centre. It is really important that the 1916 Commemorative Centre is best in class, and I do believe that when the state invests and puts its best into a project, it does deliver its best. And we have many, many fine examples of it. But Minister, I have to ask you to go back to the Department of the Office of Public Works and please express to them that we are hugely frustrated with this the glacial speed it feels from this side. And when I say from this side, I don't mean from this chamber. I mean from the people on Moore Street, the people in our city, the people who visit from outside the city, from all over the country, come down to Moore Street, come to see the last headquarters of the 1916 Rising. They cannot understand, they cannot fathom. They appreciate there is debate. They appreciate it was hard maybe to gain consensus. But we have consensus. We have a report that has consensus. We have consensus behind having a state-run 1916 commemorative centre that will be best in class at 14 to 17 Moore Street. They need to get on with it. He who hesitates is lost. And at the moment, the state is lost on this issue. The state must accelerate its efforts, and I'd ask you to bring that message back to the Minister. Gur Mogad. Minister.
Thank you, Senator, and I will bring your view back to the Minister. And again, on behalf of the Minister, I want to thank you for your comments, but also I will respond in his absence. And I do recognise, and indeed I share your disappointment, that there has been a delay in this matter, and that the early projection shared with you in July last was in hindsight an optimistic one. However, it needs to be recognised that this is a very complicated undertaking involving significant financial and technical commitment. And given the importance of the buildings, as you said, as a status as a national monument, the OPW are focused on making sure that the project succeeds to the best possible extent possible and addresses the expectation of so many parties who have contributed to this solution. 14 to 17 Moore Street has been waiting in what I would categorise an extended limbo. I think you used lace here for almost 6 years since 2016, and it has been the focus of a lot of work and discussion ever since. And given this, the OPW were careful to avoid precipitous arrangements and took care to address these matters carefully with all professional consultant parties involved before entering a substantial binding legal and financial commitment. Again, I fully accept your position. It's now time to move forward and realise the project as soon as possible that the OPW is instructed. And I also that you will remain committed to this project, as indeed will Minister O'Donovan.